today with Rich Swerbinsky. Rich, tell me, how did you get started in the mortgage industry?
Like most people, came in the side door. Wasn't expecting it. Yeah, I was working in the restaurant business. I was 19, 20 years old. And yeah, I was sick of working nights, weekends, and holidays, and took a job at my buddy's credit union as like a consumer loan guy. Spent like 9 or 10 months there. And yeah, started sending my application and resume just into local banks, trying to get a better job in finance. And yeah, showed up for a loan processor interview one day for a bank called Metropolitan Bank and Trust, just outside of Cleveland, Ohio. And I'm sitting there in the waiting room, and a gentleman comes out and says, "Hey, I know you're here for an interview for a loan processor position. Would you be interested in interviewing for a position in secondary marketing?" I said, "I have no idea what secondary marketing is, but I'll interview for anything." And yeah, that started I was lock-in boy, for about 6 months, and really enjoyed secondary, the financial, the money backdrop and backbone of the industry, and ended up working my way up to like AVP secondary. A couple banks hired me to run secondary. A bank hired me to run mortgage lending, and the mortgage collaborative hired me to get that company off the ground. So it's like most people, an awkward tale of entry into the mortgage industry.
No, I think you're so right. I don't think there's a lot of people who set out when they're in kindergarten. They're like, you know what I really want to be when I grow up. So I totally understand that. And since then, you've gone off, you've actually started up a new company, you're consulting now. What do you think is an area that most business owners need to improve upon? Do you see a commonality? What are you kind of seeing there?
Yeah, it's a tough climate in mortgage right now. So, with that backdrop, I think the two things that business owners struggle with most is, what do you spend money on and in what order? Order is very vital, and how much you invest upfront or not. I think the other thing too is just the reality of getting to the customer. If your customer is customers or other businesses, it's very difficult. Especially this climate right now in the mortgage industry. So I think it really requires a very hardened, realistic approach to how hard it is to sell anything, no matter how good and biased you are in your own product and how good you think it is, and just the repetition that is needed to get the at bats essentially necessary to get some hits, score some runs, and win some ball games. So.
I think you're right. And you brought up such a great point of getting actually in front of your customer. That is so challenging. Something that I know that you do better than probably just about anyone else out there. Your online social media presence, particularly on LinkedIn, is phenomenal. Like I could probably jump in there and learn like I'm in a master class just based on your profile alone. What is a tip that you would say for others who are looking to grow their presence on social media? What's something that you feel like is maybe underutilized or just an area that people aren't doing enough with?
To me, social media, and like my personal life, I loathe social media. I use it strategically for business only. It's not rocket science. Honestly, there's so much amazing content out there on how to be effective on whatever platform it is that you want to be effective on. I tell people all the time too, watch others that you think are very effective and good on social media and emulate them. I mean, it's really not that difficult, but I think the biggest part of it though is just commitment and consistency. It's one thing to say, oh yes, LinkedIn and social media is important to growing my business. It's another thing to put the blood, sweat, and tears, the hours, or in some people's case, investment in people to do that for you into practice. And it is all about really, the commitment to it and the consistency to making it part of your professional DNA and part of how you just execute your days professionally. I would say that's the biggest thing. So.
Fantastic. Well, I hope people connect with you if they're not already, because you have a lot that you can show them. And if they're going out to emulate anyone, it should be you. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time. I look forward to chatting with you again in the future.